Hey everyone, I have finally bothered to go attempt to clear Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom on Legacy mode on Lunatic, and I did it. Did this with Sanai this morning. Uh, this took me about, I'd say 3 days of a couple hours each of stage routing and a little bit of practice, and then just one morning of attempts. I got out of stage one once, and that was this run. So because this was a pretty unpracticed clear, I forgot a lot of parts of my routes and made some pretty silly mistakes, but it is going to be a clear, a comfortable clear at that. Um, so the main thing the main thing to watch out for with Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom is that you get life pieces by getting a large enough chapter bonus, and you get a large enough chapter bonus by defeating a large enough percentage of enemies and getting enough grays. It's 200 times 100% shoot down, so if less shoot down, you need more grays. And I missed a lot of chapter bonuses that I normally would get in practice. And that was actually one of the things I really struggled with in this run. So it's not worth trying to kill these enemies or dodge this at the bottom, especially when you can do a little bit of head sitting and get massive amounts of grays. So when these wisps show up, that gives you a large enough shoot down, and you very easily get the chapter bonus. I liked doing vertical streaming here, though it was a little awkward to enter this time. As for Seiron's non-spells, they really aren't too bad, but there's a perfect example of missing the shoot down by 2 grays. They really aren't too bad, but I just didn't want to reset over missing them. And I also just didn't know where else I would really spend those bombs, right? So, Speed Strike, pretty easy cap. I went for about, I think, 10 spell captures in this run. Oh yeah, I messed up my strategy here. I had a safe spot in mind. And then just streaming down. I think I missed this chapter bonus too. Yeah, I tried to loiter near the bullets to get enough slow grays, because in Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom, if you stay near a bullet for a little while, you can get more than 1 graze from that bullet. But I didn't have a high enough shoot down for that chapter, so missed the chapter bonus. So I'm 2 chapter bonuses behind where I'd like to be, which is 2/3 of a life. Now if this was UFO, I would have restarted over missing the first of those. But because this is Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom, and I know that I can be at max lives by Clown Piece, missing 2 or 3 lives off of my pace, I'm not actually that concerned. So I go for Eagle here because I have no bombs. Something about Eagle clicked, and I just understood it after a couple of tries, so I think I was actually getting it more often than not after that point. You just have to remember to stay on top of the misdirection. I know this non-spell has a safe spot, and I wanted to get back over to the power, and I fat-fingered up when trying to move down, and took a death there. So I like to just bomb this to not die again and have to restart so I can get out of stage 1 jail. And I know this has a strategy where you can circle around Seiron as well, but I found dodging it at the bottom more consistent, so I dodged it at the bottom. And I got another capture. So 4 lives, 2 bombs entering stage 2, when I would really like to be 5-0, or even almost 6-0. I delay shooting a little bit at the start of the stage here to try to get more grays and slow grays off of these fairies in the hopes of getting a chapter bonus. It's not a risky decision, but dropping the power was definitely a foolish decision. I forgot what this section was, actually, but fortunately got away with it. In my first point device run, I really struggled with this part with Reimu. Especially trying to stream turn it, and it turns out you don't actually have to stream turn this at all. That said, I think I do still elect to stream turn it once. No, it's the later one I elect to stream turn, because this one you have plenty of space. Again, trying to remember what comes next. Shoot down the 3 fairies on the left, this whole pattern is aimed. Get a little risky dodge there, but nothing too crazy. Ringo's mid-boss non-spell. The hope of my route would be to get here with no bomb, so I have to try to capture it. But because I have a bomb, I just spend that bomb. and get it immediately refunded. This is one advantage of playing a Sanai over any other shot type especially, because other shots can't necessarily get the life piece out of that bomb. Sanai's damage is a little lower, but she handles stages very well. So I think Sanai is probably the best to clear with, but the bomb graze is like not the most essential. I used it I think a dozen times during this run where it actually had an impact, but some of those I only did because I was playing a Sanai. And I knew I could spend the bomb to have less bombs at a point where I want to try to dodge something for a while, so the penalty for screwing up is lesser. Ah yes, I forgot to do another stream turn there. And then I could have spawn grazed that fairy and then didn't. And then I'm trying to remember what to do here, and I think I messed this up too and have to bomb. Yeah. Not only that, do I get the chapter bonus? I think I did there. Yeah, okay. So, not a great stage 2. I really should have prepped stage 2 a little better. But I have no bombs going into Ringo, which is nice, because it means, you know, I can dodge most of these patterns most of the time. It's just not really worth the risk. Unfortunately, I back into a bullet here, dive, which gets me into Berry Berry Dongo, which I bomb very early, because I don't usually bomb this, because I can usually get it. Or rather, when I try it, I can usually get it. And then I put myself in a really weird spot in the corner, and fortunately, do kill the pattern. Second non, much the same as the first non. Bomb as soon as it gets a little scary. It's again not too bad of a pattern. I would get it more often than not, but I have bombs. Dongo Influence. This is normally a pretty easy spell card. Unfortunately, I did a weird misdirect and then totally didn't see the bullet that I rammed into. So I'm not entirely happy with how this run's going. I've thrown a lot of resources away stupidly in stage 2, but I know that I'll be able to keep it, like, the run alive into stage 3. I think I missed the chapter bonus there. It's like, alright. This looks like a pretty easy Lunatic September wave. Let's just go for it, right? 3 power. Like, how bad could it really be, right? And the answer is, it's a little scary at the bottom, but it was another relatively nice wave. And I hear the sound, and I capture Lunatic September. So I feel a little better about the run, or at least confident in my ability to dodge when it counts. This is probably hubris. So stage 3, I put a lot of effort into trying to figure out a good approach to stage 3. And ultimately just decided to ignore a lot of the chapter bonuses. This spawn graze is very important to get this chapter bonus though. It's very easy to perform and gets you almost all the way there immediately. I didn't get the full graze, but you don't need the full graze to get the bonus here. As you can see, I still get 247, which is enough. And then here is stage 3, chapter 3. I think this is one of the hardest chapters in the entire game. I shouldn't have tried to go for that third laser graze. Bomb in the corner. I never really figured this out. And I think I'm going to bomb this again in the corner here. Yeah. Which unfortunately is going to prevent me from bombing Dorami's mid-boss non-spell and getting the chapter bonus on this non-spell. Fortunately, I'm able to dodge the remnants of the first wave. Scarlet Oppressive Nightmare was one of the few spells I had as a permanently routed capture in this run. Most of the failures were from when I was trying to start by going left instead of going right. Unfortunately, I did kind of forget this stage section existed, and could have gotten a lot of graze, but didn't realize I could have gotten that graze, and ultimately just go for unfocused shooting and, well, trying to survive, which I do. Little scary dodge there, but good enough. I'm trying to dodge just a little higher for graze. I still miss the chapter bonus. Except I don't miss the chapter bonus because this chapter is basically 2 chapters in one, and you can get massive amounts of graze from this section. You don't even need that much, or that many kills, or that much graze, so it's really pretty flexible on what you do. I don't even try to graze that wave because the entry to it was a bit weird. And then I didn't kill one of the yin-yangs, so why bother? Now this chapter, everything is just aimed around you, or the revenge bullets are aimed around you. So I try to take advantage of that to get enough graze off of just those aimed around lasers. And I think I succeeded in this run. This was not something I was reliable at doing in practice. Yeah, I do succeed. I do get the chapter bonus here. So a little bit of redemption for stages 1 and 2, and especially 2, by having a pretty good stage 3 stage portion. Like, the only thing that really went wrong was chapter 3, which is to be expected. Unfortunately, I want to try to save my bomb here, and I can usually do on 1. I should have bombed very preemptively here. I tried to bomb here, I press X, and I get hit by a pellet. Because my keyboard just didn't work. And unfortunately, I still end up having to bomb, but I do get the chapter bonus. Which also puts me in a pretty weird spot for Eternally Anxious Stream, which, if I have bombs here, I will bomb it. If I have more than one bomb, I will bomb it. Otherwise, I will go for the cap. 2 of 24 was mostly from trying to get a clean Dormy for a replay to reference. Second non, you really do want to save the bomb again. But just like the first non, I kind of mess up, and I don't get enough graze for the chapter bonus because I delayed my bomb very late. You really want to spend the bomb when the wall of the first wave is about to hit. So Ochre Labyrinthine Confusion is a pretty easy spell card. Unfortunately, I just totally misread the entry to the second wave. And I do read the entry to the remnants of the third wave correctly and get through, which gets me into third non with bombs, so of course I'm going to use them. Keep an eye on the graze, get the 200, and hopefully the pattern dies before it gets dangerous. I go to the corner, and it's a little scary, but I'm fine. Losing oneself in a dream. I know this is effectively static, but I just never learned it. I know staying in the center is always enough time to get the bomb up, and then it dies here, so it's good enough for 1cc. And then Ultramarine Lunatic Dream, I actually started getting the hang of. And because I had started getting the hang of it in practice, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do the first wave and then I'll bomb. I pressed X. My keyboard, again, denied me the bomb. So now I'm a little worried about my keyboard. And a bit foolishly, I elect to try to dodge the rest of the wave, and I do. Fortunately, which gets me into stage 4, 6 lives, 3 bombs. I really should be at max or like 7 lives here instead, but that's fine. I have the bright idea to spend one of my 3 bombs, because I'm never planning on having 3 bombs here, to get the chapter bonus on the first chapter, which I would otherwise never get. Which I think was a smart choice. So this was a strategy I came up with myself. I line up using first the flower, the little purple oval, and then the gap between the flowers here. And by lining up on those 3 spots in succession, it always works. I never did figure out how to get the chapter bonus there reliably, or at all, honestly. Chapter 3, I did figure out pretty reliably. It took a little bit, but minimal dodging required, aside from the first wave, which first volley is not too bad. I know there's a meme in the Touhou Replay Showcase community about nobody ever dies to S4C3, and I mean, I don't think that's fair. The first wave's pretty rough. Or it can be. So, Sagame mid-boss, non-spell, I end up getting pushed to the side pretty far, and I'm kind of stalling it a bit, hoping to get some graze, and end up at 158. Not enough. That's fine. I do usually have to work for that chapter bonus. And in a comfortable life situation like this, even though it's less than I'd like, I know that I can pretty easily have a lot of spare lives at the end of the game, if I can just execute. So don't worry about the chapter bonus, and I just go for easy streamed aimed lasers after some pretty basic dodging. Stage 4 really is a breather. Much like Stage 3, aside from Chapter 3, honestly. Like, there's not a lot of dangerous stuff in either stage. It's most... And even Sagame is not that dangerous for the most part. So I think about spending a bomb on this section to try to get the chapter bonus here. I did also test and found I was able to, if I graze very aggressively, get the chapter bonus just raw on this, but it's not worth the risk. Especially with bombs in stock. So I elect to just save my bomb for Sagame so I can guarantee chapter bonuses on non-spells. Even though I would usually get those non-spells if I go for them. In practicing, I did get a 1 miss no bomb of the stage, effectively. So it was to Heron, which fair. Yeah, so right here's the moment I decided I'm going to spend the bomb to guarantee the chapter bonus. Duplex Curse, I did figure out how to get the chapter bonus on this, but in a run, it just felt a lot more dangerous, so I don't go for it, really. I just go for killing it, which works. Second non, it's dense and a little scary. That wave was fine, but I'm just mostly thinking I want to make sure I am at max lives for Clown Piece. Because I feel like you can chain death pretty badly if things start going wrong there. So that's what I do. I go for the capture on this, which I never really figured out how to do reliably. And in fact, I probably should have just spent the bomb. But instead I have a bomb for third non, which is fast, dense, and a little scary. Probably the second most dangerous attack in the fight. Probably the least dangerous attack in the game. And I do, in fact, as I said, have max lives at this point, which is great. I love having max lives. 0-7 is unfortunately a bit of a spoiler for what ends up happening here. I just didn't move far enough right, or I chose the wrong gap. Fortunately, this spell doesn't have a ton of health, and you can very easily hit the chapter bonus with it just without trying. So I'm actually pretty happy entering stage 5. Like, I'm basically on my resource route, and I know I can do this section and get the chapter bonus by graze, but I'm looking at my resources and I'm thinking about what's coming up in stage 5, and I'm thinking I will very easily be able to be at 8 lives and probably avoid dying going into Clown Piece. And even if I do take a stupid death, there's enough chapters that I can still be like 8-2, 8-1 entering. So I have a bit of a weird entry to this streaming part, because I forgot which streaming section was coming up. And I end up pushing myself into the wall here. So I go to try to make a stream turn, and I do a really janky dodge, but I got away with it. Not my strategy. So this is my strategy, though. You easily get the chapter bonus off of just that graze, and it sets you up really nicely to effectively C-stream in between these sections, which I was actually a little worried about my graze here, but I got 100% shoot down, so it doesn't matter. Lunatic Time is one of the easiest chapters in the game as well. However, I'm a little off position here, or maybe the randomness is different, so I have to make a second tap. Oh no. And again, I think I forgot which section was... No, I remembered which section was coming up. It's this laser section. But I'm streaming this so much faster than I should be because I'm scared of getting sniped on by a random bullet on the side. You can see right here, there's that extra blue coming down. And I see I'm in a really weird spot. And somehow that works. That was not my plan, not my strategy. Again, I misremembered which chapter is coming up next. I would get this more often than not when I tried it, but with 2 bombs in stock, I figure why risk it? I bomb a little bit early here. I was hoping to deal with this third fairy, and unfortunately for me, I just misread the star and just take the death. But that's fine. You can be at 3 power for this section, and nothing really bad is going to happen. And this might act like, you could also argue it's a blessing in disguise. Uh, However, I stopped shooting here to let the lasers build up so that I can bomb and get the grays, get my power back, effectively be back at 7 2/3. Racetrack. I don't know how to deal the red part of this very well. I can, it's just risky. The blue part's easy. So I think, yeah, I bombed here. I probably could have stayed on the left side and dodged it, but I just never figured out a reliable way of handling that. And then there's this streaming part, which I think this is called, or colloquially called, minefield. Kind of weird that doing it unfocused feels safer than doing it focused for the most part. There's just a lot going on, especially with all of the items falling. I do one last stream turn against the wall and arrive at Clown Piece exactly as I expected I probably would, 8-1. This is great. I just have to dodge like 4 stars on the first non, then I can drop the bomb, and then I'll be fine. 1, 2, 3. Great. And she's down. Fortunately, I get pretty easy waves. Go to bomb. I get hit anyway. Doesn't matter. I get, again, a bit of good luck there. Cool. Eclipse of Hell. Once I figured this out, I was capturing it every time by staying on this flower every time the moon comes down. Cool. Easy spell card. Should never fail it. Why did I move left there? I couldn't tell you. And now, my confidence is shot, too. So I bomb there kind of unnecessarily. Which then puts me into non 2, where I bomb because I see Clown Piece moves down. And then she moves up, I think? Yeah, and then she moves down, and I'm just sitting there in the center, and I do get away with it. Cool. Star and Stripe. Oh crap, I forgot I need to start Star and Stripe up. Bomb. Okay, but I know how to dodge this. You go to the a little above the little purple splotch every time, and it's easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's a good visual cue that gets you to the right height. I stopped just short of how high I need to be. But I did do well enough, so the pattern dies here. Third non. Third non I would get basically every time I tried it, but I started it at 2 power, and I really don't want to chain death. So I elect to just bomb it once it gets started. That's fine. Infernal Essence of Grazing. Oops, I messed up the first wave. Oops, I didn't give myself a way out. Fortunately, life bar on this is low enough that it dies in 1 bomb anyway, but this is a very poor Clown Piece showing. I'd done much better on basically every practice run. Striped Abyss at 3 power. I mean, it's not like this card is difficult, it's just very easy to miss input or brain fart, and it lasts a long time. It also has a lot of bomb resistance, I think. Or at the very least, it takes 2 bombs to kill it, and you really don't want to be double bombing things. Or in this case, I can't even double bomb. So I get the life bar very low, and then I don't trust that wave, so I bomb it. Okay, Apollo Hoax series next. I have 7 lives. This is great. I've never failed Apollo Hoax theory. I faced it once on Point Device with Reimu, I capped it. I did it twice when I was practicing and I capped it. Run nerves, I guess. It gets a little worse for me too, because 6-3 is not exactly what I'm hoping for. I know it's enough. I elect to try to bomb to get enough grays for the chapter bonus here, but I probably would have had to bomb twice. Yeah, I end up in about 160, or 175, which just comes up short. Oh well. 6-2 entering stage 6, and I'm already thinking about what I want to do resource-wise here. Because my ideal strategy involves entering Junko with 0 or 1 bombs, and it's just a matter of trying to think about how. So, the first chapter, I elect to just get my power back and play it safe. Second chapter, I had already planned what to do, so I go into position for the second chapter. Oh, wait, right, there's this streaming section. I probably could have gotten the chapter bonus on chapter 1 if I tried. Okay, chapter 2 strategy for real. To make sure I have only one bomb for rain, because I feel like that's more comfortable, I bomb and use that bomb to get the requisite graze here. This is a pretty easy chapter to just survive anyway, so it's mostly just trading one bomb for a third of a life, so I have less bombs, so the cost of any mistake is now less. So rain, I like doing a one restream strategy for this. But because I have the bomb and I'm in a live run, I'm going to... Wow, it's a really nasty wave. And I just should have bombed. And instead I just brain fart and try and stream back. So, yeah. Then I get kind of trapped because I don't see a way out. I don't want to bomb this again, so I go for only big gaps. I know the pattern's about to die from the music. And it does before it gets too dangerous. Another thing I had prepped was delaying this and then using a bomb to graze a lot of these bullets as they spawn, which I thought there were only 3 waves of this, but there's 4. So when I go over to the side here, there's, surprise, more bullets. But I end up not getting punished, and I easily get the chapter bonus. Which has me entering Junko 6-1. In practice runs, I was starting this from, I think, 7 1/3 and 1, so I'm a little behind, but in those practice runs, I was also pretty easily clearing. I did not trust that wave, by the way. Probably could have done it, but didn't want to risk it. I think those rings are static as well, so you can just offset. So pure light of the palm, no bombs. This is, I think, going to set the tone for how the Junko fight is going to go on the whole. If I can survive the first wave, which I do, great. If I die, then I'm at risk of chain deaths. No, I don't think enough chain deaths to seriously put the run in jeopardy, but you never know. And I do capture pure light of the palm. Second non. I'm like 90% on a single wave of this. Here, though, I tapped up once instead of twice like I usually do, because I thought I was set. And I bombed to guarantee the chapter bonus, and also guarantee not dying twice. Murderous Lilies, bad first wave, bad start, just off strategy immediately. I think this is one of the hardest attacks in the game. So I know I'm going to be double bombing it, so I just spend the bomb very early. Third non, I should have picked up the power immediately. Instead, I go for it and then misread, and then still have to deal with stuff at 3 power. So that was a misplay. That's fine. Not really a situation I was used to being in. I should have potentially bombed immediately. Modern Divine Spirit World is such a weird card difficulty-wise. There was an easy way out there, I just didn't see it. I just didn't like that wave. And I know that if I bomb one wave, I only have to deal with one wave or double bomb. This wave I do like. And I easily make my way through. And the pattern dies here, which takes me into the jump rope non-spell. I've heard this is not considered that bad, but I think it's pretty hard. Death Bomb. Good recognition that I was going to get hit by the bounce. Trembling Shivering Star. On nerves. Capture. Pristine Lunacy. I never learned this pattern. I'll admit it, I never properly learned this pattern. It's actually in a good spot if I just moved slightly to the left there. Really should go out of my way to learn this at some point soon. Because I do want to get like really good runs and potentially work my way up to LNB on everything. But at least for now, I was just taking what I got. Alright, Refinement of Earthen Impurity. Survival. This is not actually that bad of a pattern. I do some really wacky stuff here, though. Oh, I was just slightly too high. That's what happened. It's not too bad. I just made a silly mistake. It's fine. I was hoping to enter PDH 5-1. Instead, I entered PDH 4-2 and at 3 power. I wanted to go for a capture of this really badly, but I also kind of wanted to see if I could still clear with 4 lives. So I resolved to go for the capture, but bomb if things got a little dicey rather than just hope for the best. Now phase 2, like it's really funny. When I did this as Rainbow, phase 2 was not dangerous at all. Phase 2 feels really scary for Sanai, and I don't know why. It's a placebo thing. So I enter phase 3, it's a wacky purple, so I just bomb. And I misread the blue rings, so I bombed again. And Sanai's bomb and that little bit of dodging is enough to coast me to the finish line with 4 spare lives. So this was not a particularly clean run, but I do feel like I had to do a lot of learning, like root learning, and have a high base skill level in order to do this. I don't think LoLK is a free clear. Um, you could probably make the argument that it's easier than Subterranean Animism. I'm not sure that's an argument I would make. I feel like they are at least comparable for different reasons. In terms of just clearing, UFO is the hardest. UFO is just the hardest. But with that, I have now gotten a Lunatic clear of every Windows era Touhou game with default lives just and a not broken shot type. Well, I mean, I guess you could consider DDC Reimu A broken shot type, but I wasn't abusing her as though she was a broken shot type because a lot of the ways she was broken were not known at the time I played that. But yeah, I'm really happy to finally have this done. It's been hanging over my head for a while that I never did, and it feels good to claim that I have the full set. Uh, I don't know if I'm going to go for LNBs, play other games, or um, try to remove the qualifiers on Touhou Lunatic clears by clearing the PC98 games or spin-offs. Well, the non-bullet hell spin-offs next, but I don't know. We'll see. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.